The best gifts I've ever received have excelled in one of three categories. Either they were extremely intentional, they had a short lifespan, or they were flexible and I could use them for multiple purposes. I'm going to be talking about a few different gifts that I've received, how they've fallen in this criteria, how they rank on each one, and how you can think about different gifts that you can purchase this holiday season that would mean a lot to the recipient that you're giving to. So first off, let's go ahead and define those criteria. Number one being intentionality. You want to purchase something that feels really tailored to that person. What are they interested in? Maybe it's something about them specifically that you know that feels relevant. The second one is going to be its lifespan. Now, there are naturally certain items that are going to take a longer time to use than other items. So typically we think about these in terms of a consumable item or non-consumable. But the reality is every item is somewhat consumable, right? It's not going to have a lifespan that lasts forever. Everything kind of wears out over time, but there are certain things that we can have and use in a shorter time span. Chocolate is not going to last long at all, but buying someone something like a keyboard, which has a lifespan of 10, 15 years, is going to be a much higher commitment. And lastly, flexibility. If you buy someone a candle, it can only really be used for a fragrance. It's a one-use item, but other items may have multiple uses and may be able to use in a variety of ways. Now, the first gift I've received that I really enjoy every time I receive it is coffee beans. I'm a really big fan of coffee, and I always think it's really thoughtful when someone gets me a coffee, especially if it's from a local roaster that they know, or it's a coffee that's just a little bit different and unique. I received an advent calendar last year that had different coffees for each day of Advent. And that was so cool because I got to try all of these different coffees from all of these different places and different blends and things like that. So I would say that this one for me ranked really high on the intentionality scale. They knew that I'm a coffee fanatic. I love my coffee, and they wanted to get me something that I would not normally purchase for myself, which is totally the case with this item. I got through that coffee in about 3 months, which is really great. I would say in terms of lifespan, any gift that only lasts a year or less is going to be perfect, because as you think about it over time, if you're getting them something every year for Christmas, you don't want that stack of things to accumulate. You want them to use those things over time. So don't add to the amount of stuff they have. Have it be something that's kind of a one in, one out rule. They get a gift, and at that point, they've already used up their last gift. And lastly, in terms of flexibility, this one does rank pretty low. Coffee is coffee. You drink it, you love it, it fuels you, it's amazing, but it really only has that one purpose. Next gift I love receiving is plants or flowers. Now, my husband is really sweet and is super good about getting me flowers just randomly even, and I love it because it is intentional. He knows that I like flowers, he knows that I like houseplants and really enjoy bringing some life into our home. It helps keep me focused on what's going on today, bringing in some life into our home, making it feel lively, especially in times of winter. It really brightens up our home, and so I really love that aspect of it. In terms of lifespan, if it's some flowers, they're only going to last a week or two, depending on the flower quality, and houseplants, depends how you can take care of them, how good you are about managing them, but for me, I would say around a year. And lastly, in terms of flexibility, these are a little bit more flexible just because they do have a couple of different uses. They're decorative, they can purify the air and kind of contribute to some different health things, but generally speaking, they're not super flexible, but slightly more flexible than coffee. The next gift that I've received would be a handmade item. So I've received a few different ones of these, and they can kind of take some different forms. I've received a handmade blanket that I really loved, and I've also received a very personalized notebook as well. Both of these were extremely intentional. One was hand knit, and then the other one was from my 21st birthday. A friend of mine had actually reached out to several other friends of mine and had compiled different birthday notes into a binder for me. And I still have that. I treasure it, and it has different pictures throughout my life up to my 21st birthday. So that one, of course, both the blanket and the binder, handmade items, gonna rank insane on the intentionality scale because they are so thoughtful, and I can tell that someone invested a lot of thought and time into those gifts. In terms of the lifespan of these items, they're going to be on the longer end. I'm keeping these the long haul. I love them. I know that someone crafted these for me, so potentially it could be a lifetime that I'm gonna keep these items, but just depends on the general wear and tear. And lastly, flexibility. These rank extremely low in terms of flexibility because ultimately with the blanket, I can only use it for that specific use of keeping me warm or for decoration. And with the binder, the reality is those notes really don't have a whole lot of meaning to anyone else except for me because I know those specific individuals and the words that they say about me matter to me only. The next one is going to be an experience. We had received some comedy tickets to a comedy show, and that was really enjoyable because it isn't something we would normally go to or purchase for ourselves. We would just watch YouTube videos of comedy and things like that. But receiving that gift, I immediately was excited about that date night. And going on that date, I was thinking about the person who gave us those tickets, and I thought that that was super intentional for them to know that we even like that specific comedian and buy those for us. So I would say intentionality wise, if you make it really tailored to that person and that experience is something that they have talked about, then this can be a very intentional gift. If you're just kind of shooting your shot in the dark, may not be as intentional. But for me, this one specifically was fairly intentional in terms of lifespan. When you buy someone tickets or even a gift card to a restaurant or something like that, they're probably going to use it within the next few months. Very rarely is something going to be used more than a year out. At least that's your hope, right? You don't want them eating at that restaurant 5 years down the road. So this is a really good one in terms of time frame, and it doesn't take up a lot of space, right? I mean, if it's just a little certificate, some tickets that you can send over email or something like that, it's going to be a lot easier to manage, and it's not something that they have to organize. And lastly, in terms of flexibility, this is going to be lower on the flexibility scale. Usually those tickets are potentially non-refundable or non-transferable, so it's going to be a little hard for them to do that. It's going to be to that specific event at that specific time for that specific person or specific place. So just keep that in mind, but it's not a big deal if you know that it's something that they've been wanting to do. Lastly is the good old classic and controversial money and gift cards. Now, I know some people say that this is not very personal, it is not very intentional, it is definitely a default gift item, but I just don't believe that's true. I think that it can be extremely intentional. If you know that someone is saving up towards something or working towards something to better their life on the regular day-to-day, then giving them some money to be able to do that could be huge. For us, we received some Lowe's gift cards and Home Depot gift cards for renovations that we've done on our house, and it's gone a long way because ultimately one of our main goals is to make our house more of a home and to steward it well, and those gift cards help us to do that. I would say that this is a fairly intentional gift. I won't say that it's extremely intentional because I know a lot of people think that it seems cold, but I feel that it is fairly intentional. In terms of lifespan, this is going to be a really short lifespan, just like the experiences. People are probably going to use them fairly quickly, especially if they're saving towards something. Hopefully they would use it within a month to 3 months. Flexibility wise, this is going to be really huge because if it's money, they can use it on anything that they need, whether it's something that they're working towards saving or if they just have an emergency and need that money for something, they're going to be able to use it right then and there. If it's a gift card, there's a little bit less flexibility, of course, but they're still going to be able to use it on different items from that specific retailer or restaurant or whatever it is. I think one of the best things you can do with a gift card or money as well is to write a really thoughtful note with it and even maybe direct it towards something that you think that they could use that money toward or that gift card toward. And that way it gives them some direction of like, I wasn't just giving you this money just because I didn't know what else to get you, but I was giving you that money because I knew that you are working toward this specific thing. And even though I don't have the funds to buy that entire thing for you, I can contribute a little bit. And that goes a long way and shows a lot of intention and care for that person. So as we're looking for different gifts this holiday season, I hope that we can look through the lens of how intentional is this item? What is the lifespan of this item? And how flexible is this item? I think this will help us to guide a lot of our purchases. If we lift it up and we say, this isn't very intentional, it's got a long lifespan, and it really is not very flexible, then maybe it's time to put that gift down and try to look for something else that would better suit that person. But like I said, good place to start. Maybe some coffee, maybe some plants, maybe make them something, give them an experience, or the good old money or gift cards. Truly, I don't think that you can go wrong with any of those 5 items, generally speaking. But I hope that this helps your holiday shopping and kind of guide some of those decisions to make you feel better about the gifts that you're giving to other people and that they're really going to use them and that it's not going to create a burden in their life by having to manage more stuff. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Savannah. And if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to help promote this content to other people. Ultimately, I really want to help people have less and experience more. And by sharing this content, you will be supporting that mission and helping other people give gifts that are truly meaningful and aren't just another thing that we have on our plates. See you next time.